What's going on, guys? Welcome back to We Want Picks. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckle Salamander, here to bring you my quick pick video for UFC 281. Before we get started, make sure you go to WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. It is only $10 a month. That means this card is only going to cost you $2.50 for all our early access picks, bets, entire breakdowns, DraftKings optimizer, everything you could ever want. The best value in MMA. WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. Only $10 a month. Let's get right into the action for UFC 281. First fight of the night, we have Carlos versus Nick, and this is the clash of two styles. Carlos wants to keep this fight clean. He wants to take his time, keep his distance, and Nick is the exact opposite. He wants to get in there. He wants to brawl. He wants to get the takedowns. He wants to make this nasty. He wants to make this gritty, and this is going to be one of those fights where Carlos is either going to find one of those nice, clean counters as Nick is blitzing in early, or Nick is going to be able to brawl with this guy, get him against the cage, control him, get him to the ground, and I love Nick's ability to do that in those fights. It seems like every fight he's in turns into a Nick fight. And against Carlos, I see him doing the exact same thing, closing that distance, making it dirty, getting the fight to the ground, wearing down Carlos, because we've seen him have gas tank issues in the past. But this would not surprise me at all if Carlos comes in, finds an early knockout as Nick is blitzing in. But I am Nick all the way in this match to make it dirty, to get those takedowns, to grind to a victory. Arcee versus Montel Jackson. This is another close fight. This card is loaded with close fights. I don't care what the odds say, the majority of these fights are going to be close fights, and this one is pretty 50-50 on the feet. Arcee, incredible counter boxer, very, very slick boxing, great footwork. He seems to be able to see everything in the striking. Montel, very long, nice little 1-2 right down the pipe, is going to be strong in the striking, but his wrestling in the back pocket is the difference maker to me in this fight. Things get a little bit hairy, and Montel is in some trouble. He can get the takedowns needed. Can he get those all 3 rounds? We'll see, because Montel has shown before that if this gets to the 3rd round, you can't really trust him to do what he needs to do. So this might be a live bet situation. If this is going into the 3rd round, I like Arcee to win that 3rd round. If it's 1-1 going into the 3rd round, I'm going to put money on Arcee going in the 3rd round, but I think Montel can kick control, win striking exchanges, and get some wrestling to win this fight. Go up 2 rounds, nothing, maybe lose the 3rd round, but this is probably a decision fight. I like Montel to use some wrestling in this matchup to win this fight. Trizano versus Choi, and this is going to be the fight of the night. I don't care what the rest of the fights say on the card. I don't care who's on the fight card and the main card. This is going to be the fight of the night. Both these guys love to absolutely brawl. Choi likes to keep distance, but the second you start brawling him, he enjoys brawling, man. And both these guys have chins, but they both play cracked. I like Trizano in this matchup just because he's the hometown kid. I think this is definitely a coin toss matchup. Mike might go to some wrestling if he gets in trouble, but I think these guys stand. I think they bang. I don't see this fight going the distance at all. If it does, it will definitely be the fight of the night. Somebody is getting a performance bonus, and give me the hometown kid in Trizano to find the chin of Choi and get the finish. Carolina versus Juarez, and this is a fight that is going to be very interesting. If it goes to the ground, obviously Carolina, that's where she excels, because on the feet, she knows what she's doing, but she's not as fast. She's definitely not as powerful as Juarez. So on the feet, Juarez is going to have that cannonball of a right hand cocked and ready to go. Can Carolina get the takedowns that she needs? I don't think she's going to be able to. Maybe there's a weird scramble. Even if there's a weird scramble, Juarez could probably get back to her feet. If Carolina gets on her back, it's going to be an issue. But I see Juarez be able to keep the distance, keep this on the and absolutely unload that right hand that you saw in her last fight. She should be the better striker. I imagine this is a mostly striking matchup, and she should absolutely dominate the striking in this matchup. Give me Juarez all the way. Ottman versus Matt Frivola, and this is a coin toss, and I'm actually pretty surprised. If Ottman did not have a 2-year layoff, I imagine he would be a minus 150, minus 175, and I like him in this match because Matt Frivola, his over-aggression is going to be the downfall in this matchup. He's going to come in, he's going to be aggressive, he's going to throw his bombs, maybe he tries to wrestle, and that's probably the path to victory for him, but if he comes in and tries to knock this dude out, Ottman is very, the difference in the striking here is Ottman, they both want to brawl, right? Once they start going, they're going to start going. I don't think this fight gets out of the first round, maybe, but it does not get out of the second round. But the difference is Ottman, when he is brawling, he stays nice and tight. Everything is nice, tight shots, boom, 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 boom. And Matt, when he starts brawling, everything is really winging. Everything is outside, really powerful shots. I see Matt coming in, trying to brawl, throwing those wild shots, and Ottman staying real tight. We've seen Matt Frivola get knocked out before. Flash knockouts happen. I like Ottman to find that inside, nice, tight shot on Matt Frivola and getting the job done inside of 2 rounds. Petroski versus Wellington Turman, and this is another very interesting matchup because I've been burned by that Renzo Gracie camp in Philly. Pat Sabatini, very high, loss. Sean Brady, very high, loss. Now we have Andre Petroski. This camp does not know how to strike. There's one thing we have learned from this camp. They do not know how to strike. Thankfully for Andre, Wellington also does not know how to strike, so he should be able to have the wrestling and control in this fight. If Wellington ever gets to the back of Andre, it is a big issue. But I think Andre can control the striking exchanges to get to those blast doubles, those real powerful takedowns, control positions. I don't know if he's able to find the submissions on Wellington, who's very well versed in jiu-jitsu, but he should be able to wear him down. And Wellington off his back is much different than Wellington on somebody else's back. A lot of hammer, not a lot of nails. And I see Andre coming in and absolutely dominating this fight with pure control and wrestling. Elbows, maybe finding a submission, but could be a TKO victory for Andre Petroski. This is the last time I'm trusting the Renzo Gracie camp. Erin Blanchfield versus Molly McCann, and Erin Blanchfield, I'll say it right now, is overrated. I said it last week about Miranda Maverick. She should be able to get the job done, and she did. I feel the same way with Erin Blanchfield in this matchup. She should be able to get the takedowns, control Molly, win the fight, but her stand-up is lackluster, and Molly is going to come in, defend a couple takedowns, and be all in her face. And this girl is only 22, 23 years old. Big moment, pay-per-view, Madison Square Garden. Everyone is going to be rooting for Molly McCann. She is going to blitz forward. It could be a big moment and a big upset for Molly McCann. So my pick for this fight is Erin Blanchfield. She should have the tools, but I'm not laying minus 400, minus whatever it is on Erin Blanchfield right now. And I might sprinkle an inside the distance for Molly McCann because Erin Blanchfield was getting dominated by JJ in her last fight, found the Hail Mary guillotine. You can't trust her yet. She's young. She will be one of those top-level women, but not right now. I think she definitely wins this fight, or she should win this fight, but I don't trust her to put money on her. Not going to be my DraftKings probably, and it's probably going to be the better value on Molly McCann's side inside the distance. But my pick is Erin Blanchfield. Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann, and this is, if you go back and watch the Dominic Reyes and the Yuri fight. That fight was insane. Half the shots that Dominic Reyes was landing on Yuri would knock out anybody else in the division. There's no even chance about it. And Yuri was just eating those, didn't even react to them. Finally, Dominic Reyes put him on skates in the second round, and Yuri tried to shoot a takedown. Dominic Reyes went for the guillotine, and then it was kind of over at that. I know Reyes was knocked out in that fight, but he was eating shots, showed a great chin up to the point of that spinning elbow. Is Ryan Spann going to wrestle? I don't think Ryan Spann's going to be able to get the takedowns he needs. And on the feet, it feels like Ryan Spann should have the speed, maybe not necessarily the raw power, because Ryan Spann is a powerful dude, but should have the speed in the striking. It might have some takedowns of his own in case he does get in trouble. So it's hard to trust Dominic Reyes in this spot. He's lost 3 in a row, but they were all 3-2 champions or former champions. But I'm going to stick with Dominic Reyes here. Just give him one more chance against a Ryan Spann who kind of doesn't really know who he is. Is he a powerful puncher? Is he a submission guy? We'll find out if he is the real deal. If he can get this big win over Dominic Reyes, he is that next guy, the next top 5 guy. But I'm going to pick Dominic Reyes here in the matchup to keep it standing, win the striking exchanges. Moicano versus Brad Riddell, and this is probably the toughest matchup on the card. I know Brad Riddell is a very live favorite underdog pick. He's going to have the striking advantage, just the pure technical striking advantage, but there is no doubt that Moicano is the more dangerous guy in this matchup, not only on the feet with the striking, with raw power, but definitely if this fight goes to ground. And we've seen Brad Riddell wrestle lately. If he comes in and tries to wrestle Moicano, it's going to be an issue for him. Moicano's one of those guys, I mentioned it earlier with Wellington. A lot of hammer, not a lot of nails. If Moicano comes in, has success early, he's able to get to the back of Riddell, whatever, if he's able to dictate the pace of this fight and do what he needs to do, he's going to look fantastic. If Riddell comes in and is able to dictate his pace, touch him up a little bit early, Moicano is not a guy that plays well either backing up or off his back. He can fold when pressure. We've seen it time and time again in his fight. So Moicano needs to come out, have early success, and put it on Brad Riddell. Otherwise, this could very quickly turn into a Brad Riddell technical, striking, just absolute schooling on the feet with maybe some takedowns mixed in if he wants it. But I'm going Moicano. He is the more dangerous guy. I think on the feet he can withstand it, find a takedown, some weird scramble, maybe find a submission. But he's the more dangerous guy. In a coin flip matchup, I'm going with the more dangerous guy, but I don't love it. I'm going Moicano in this matchup. Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles, and I'm going Puelles in this matchup. There's nothing against Dan Hooker. I just need Dan Hooker to prove to me that he can be a winner again before I pick him in a matchup. Claudio Puelles is surging. Everyone is saying that he's a sub or bust type of guy. I disagree. I think that in these scrambles, he can get control, and he doesn't necessarily need to submit Dan Hooker to win the fight. He can win, control, win a decision. Even in his stand-up, his stand-up is going to keep improving. It doesn't look awful. He's got some nice kicks in there. Obviously, if this is a 50-50 stand-up, if they're standing up, you have to take Dan Hooker in this matchup. That's why he is the favorite. But I think there's some weird scrambles happening. Puelles is one of those guys that will engage in body locks and then pull guard. And Dan Hooker seems like a guy that will go to a guard because he trusts his offensive wrestling to hold positions. And against Puelles, you cannot go to the ground. Puelles is everything that I hoped Ryan Hall would ever be. So I'm going to pick Puelles in this matchup. Hopefully he finds a submission. We'll see. Dan Hooker, I like the guy, but I need him to prove that he can win a fight before I pick him again. I'm going Claudio Puelles. Frankie Edgar versus Chris Gutierrez, and this is a 41-year-old wrestler in his hometown, so if he's a trendy pick, if people like him, I get it. There is the path to victory. He needs to wrestle for 15 straight minutes, and there's an outside chance he can get that done. But I'm going Chris Gutierrez all the way in this matchup versus a 41-year-old who looks all of 41, has been in wars, has seen, I think he has the most octagon time in the UFC history. Give me the younger dude, dynamic on the feet, showing some power lately. I hope he can defend some takedowns. I'm going Chris Gutierrez in this matchup versus a 41-year-old Frankie Edgar. Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Give me Dustin Poirier every single day. Michael Chandler, I love him, right? He is a people's fighter. He goes out there, he throws bombs, he's entertaining. This will be an entertaining fight. But go back to the Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje fight, and Dustin Poirier handled all that pressure just fine. He has a good chin. He's got great boxing. Whatever Michael Chandler throws at him, he's going to see coming. He's going to slip it, and he's going to have the counter punches ready for Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's chinny. He's being dropped at time and time again. If Michael Chandler, if I knew that he was going to come in and implement a real game plan with wrestling and do this and that, I might pick Michael Chandler because he probably is the better overall fighter in this matchup. But Michael Chandler has said, I like being the entertaining guy. I like to be the fan favorite. He's going to come in, Madison Square Garden. He did that against Gaethje. He's going to throw bombs. Can he catch one? We'll see. Dustin Poirier in the last 5 years, the only people he's lost to is the champs. Khabib, Charles Oliveira. People need to start putting respect on Dustin Poirier's name and his abilities inside the octagon, especially in his boxing. He has got slick defense, really sharp counters. He is going to be ready for this matchup. I like Dustin Poirier all the way. Carlos Esparza versus Wei Lee, and I'm with everyone else, right? I don't see a world where Carlos Esparza wins this matchup, and I'm willing to look stupid about it. Can she, I guess, maybe wrestle Wei Lee for 25 straight minutes? I don't even think she can do that if that's all she's trying to do. On the stand-up, it's going to be an issue. Congrats to Carlos Esparza for being the champ for the second time. I hope she enjoyed the belt, but this is Wei Lee's belt 100%. I like Wei Lee inside the distance. I got her good value earlier, like a few weeks ago, when the odds dropped. I think she'd be minus 500, minus 600. I think the odds are going to get wide and wide as the week goes on. I love Wei Lee. She is awesome. She is so funny as well. Give me Wei Lee all day, every day. Main event, Izzy versus Alex Pereira, and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm going to be rooting for Alex. I already sprinkled in some money inside the distance on Alex. I hope he gets the job done. I don't think he gets it done. Izzy knows what the danger is in this fight. There is no way that Izzy is going into this fight and going to give Alex an opportunity to knock him out again. That's all he's heard for the past 5 years, for the past whatever. All he hears is Alex knocked you out. Alex knocked you out. He will never in this fight put himself in a position to even get close to Alex for Alex to find that knockout shot. He is going to dance around against the cage the entire fight. It's going to be Alex just stalking Izzy against the cage, doing that little jab, slip, and then rotate out. Alex following him again, boom, against the cage, slip, jab, and out again. It is going to be 25 minutes of the most boring kickboxing match you have ever seen from Izzy. There is nobody he wants to lose to less than Alex Pereira. A dude that has already beat him twice, knocked him out once. He is going to do whatever he can to keep that distance, dance around, win a boring decision, retain that title, and tell everyone, listen, I'm the better fighter, and I told you so. I'm going to be rooting for Alex, but that is the full card quick pick video. Boom, boom, boom. Very quick for UFC 281. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you are new. My name is Jacob, and I am out.